Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 39. Larry Zonka's number, Hall of Famer, one of three retired jersey numbers for the Dolphins. And that could be a discussion at some point also on this.
Yeah, there's only
podcast.
three.
Only three: Greasy, Marino, and Zonka.
Not even the Dwight Stevenson.
No Dwight Stevenson, none of the other Hall of Famers, no Jason Taylor, no Zach. Although here's the thing that's weird to me, before we get into answering fan questions, is nobody has worn 54 since Zach retired. Nobody has worn 99 since Jason Taylor retired. So why? So they're kind of like quote unquote retired, but not without being retired. So why not just do it? If nobody else is ever going to wear them, why not go do a ceremony and do it?
I do remember somebody having 54 during a training camp, and I was just
it
like,
was really, really quick, and they were like, "Oh no, yeah, we gotta change that."
yeah, they didn't even look right. But you're making an excellent point. Maybe I would love to see their numbers get retired together. That's
That works.
I don't know what's going on with them because not to be in their business, but Jason and his sister are divorced, and how that works, and you probably don't, but people have to pick a side, and you don't get to choose. Obviously, maybe Zach picked his family, but I would love to see them together, get retired together.
Correct. And again, why not do it if nobody else is ever going to wear the jersey? I mean, they might as well be retired. And how they chose, there are three. The Dolphins have way more than three Hall of Famers. Even if you're going to go with, well, okay, it's got to be a Hall of Famer who was on a Super Bowl winning team. Well, there are more than that. Larry Little, Jim Langer, Nick Bonacani, those guys. And then you made a special case exception for Marino because he set all the passing records. So there seems to be kind of, I don't know, to be perfectly blunt, no rhyme or reason for it. So I'm going to advocate, go ahead. If you're going to do it and nobody else is going to wear the jersey numbers, let's retire Jason and Zach's jersey numbers.
Good. I'm with it. Let's jump into these questions. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Alex, Miami Fins has our first question. What are your thoughts on Jason Sanders so far? With Robbie Gould from San Fran still available, do you think we should try him out?
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter what I think. It's not happening. I don't believe. And part of the reason is Jason Sanders has guaranteed money. And I know a lot of people want to dump on Jason Sanders for his money for his season last year, which wasn't great. But when he needed to make the big kick to get the Dolphins into the playoffs, which was from 50 yards, mind you, he nailed it. So I think you can excuse an up and down season when the guy comes through at money time, and he also didn't cost the Dolphins any games.
$2.5 million of guaranteed of his $3.4 million salary. He's not going anywhere. This is probably his final season. Maybe he gets competition next year. Maybe they upgrade the position. But if he balls, you get to stay. That's simply how it works. Jabari Morris asks, what do you think the offense has been struggling with so much? Why do you think the offense has been struggling so much so far?
Well, let me preface that by saying I don't know that it's been struggling so much. It's just not looked good recently.
Three practices.
Well, there are other practices before where the defense won the day. It wasn't like the offense was great all the way until the scrimmage, and now all of a sudden there's a dip. It's been, and as you mentioned before, it was up and down between offense and defense for a while. The last three practices have not been good for the offense, and it's a combination of things. The offensive line isn't great. There seems to be like a lack of sync, timing, cohesion, whatever you want to say in the passing game, and that involves everybody from quarterbacks, receivers, a couple of drop passes, some errant throws. I don't know that there's anything specific we can put our finger on.
I will say this by preferencing it. I watched defense this week during the joint practices. You watch offense. There were minutes where I snuck peeks and then inside the bubble, which fans didn't get to see, and you guys missed some action. Boy, did you miss some action? That was better than anything you will see in that exhibition game. I think that they are working on things. And this is what Tua said. And we know Tua is not a liar, correct? Probably too honest.
At times, yeah, for certain things. But when it comes to dissecting the issues of the offense, there's only certain things, so many things he's going to say. But go right ahead.
Oh, come on. He can't help himself from being too honest. That's one of my knocks on Tua. He holds on to the ball too much, and he's probably a little bit too honest. I think they were working on things. I think they were trying things out. I think they were trying to see what the capabilities were. Like, I for instance, and here's my reasoning why. And you watched more of the offense than I did. Did you see a lot of motion against Falcons this week?
There was some, not as much as excuse me, not as much as we saw last summer when it was a motion fest. I mean,
yes,
it was like constant.
Yeah, I mean, their offense is constant motion. So now that you're watching this offense without constant motion, are they just trying things to see if they work vanilla without the motion?
That's entirely possible.
And see what the capabilities are of this offense and chemistry. I will also make the point of pointing this out to people who do not have an awareness. Sometimes you're out there and you're watching Tua and he's throwing to Freddie Swain and David Davis. Those are his receivers. Am I lying?
You're not, but no, you're not. You're not lying. You're not lying.
And I'm
I have made the point. Why is he throwing to those guys when he will never throw to those guys in a regular season setting?
I get it. This is consistent. So this is a Mike McDaniel's thinking long run, greater good, not investing in. Because to me, if it were me, and I'm not going to go with Tyreek and those guys, I'm going to put Chosen and Berrios with Tua.
With Tua, correct.
And maybe Uzukama with Tua, right?
Yes.
But that's not what we see. That's not what we see. Don't bring up Cedric Wilson. I'm not wasting anybody's time.
Why are you hating on the Onion Head said? Which is what Tyreek Hill called him in the offseason. That's not mine. That was Tyreek Hill.
Let me ask you this question. Talent-wise, just talent, where would you stack Cedric Wilson in this unit?
Oh, this dove into a Cedric Wilson conversation. Right now, probably 5. I think Eric Ezukama clearly has a higher ceiling, but hasn't done it yet. Hill, Watt, Chosen, Berrios.
Okay. That's fair. I would probably stack him at 6 because I think Uzukama brings more from physical standpoint than he does. But this is not a Cedric Wilson bash fest. We know he's going to be here. He's got $5 million, and nobody's dumb enough to trade for him. And I don't think you could, you'd have to probably eat his whole contract to get somebody to trade for him.
Correct.
And I don't know if Steve Ross wants to do that, nor would I probably encourage him to do that. Here is another question from Ryan. I know we're trying to save picks, and he's referring to draft picks for next season, but at this point in training camp, is Chris Greer going to pull the trigger and try to trade for a young left guard, or do you think he's going to wait for Cook to come and sign here? What's going on with the O-line?
The O-line's your baby, so you can tackle that one first.
Okay. Would signing Dalvin Cook solve some of these issues that you're having on the offensive line? Yes, it would. I'm sorry. And I like Raheem Mostert. He nearly gave you 1,100 yards collectively, rushing, receiving last season, and I believe it was 14 games. But Dalvin Cook has rushed for more than 1,100 yards the last 4 straight seasons and is a dynamic pass-catching weapon. I'm sorry. And I hate to be disrespectful, but it's like, one, you're eating at Golden Corral or you're eating at Ruth's Chris. Both fill me up. One's just more delicious than the other. Am I wrong? Okay. Now let's address the offensive line. They've got 4 viable, logical candidates to address this position. You got Liam Eichenberg. I'm sorry if I'm laughing.
Rude. Go ahead.
You got Isaiah Wynn, who's got to get his feet wet at left guard. You got Lester Cotton, who I've been more impressed with than I expected. Hell, you got Robert Jones, who played left guard last year, and I'll throw you a fifth, Dan Feeney. I'm sorry, if I move Dan Feeney to left guard, Liam Eichenberg could be my backup center. Oh well, because once Liam Eichenberg loses left guard, the next thing for him is center. Are we in agreement there?
Yeah, or backup interior offensive lineman. I don't think they're cutting him yet. Even if
they're not cutting him, but we're moving someplace where you might have a new future. And I think that would be center. So you got a month to figure it out, try it out, invest. The thing at Liam is, I think his confidence is shot. Now, can he get it back with strong exhibition games? Yes. And I think he plays all 3 exhibition games. You got to.
And he should play a lot in those games.
Yes.
Yeah.
You should. If Liam's playing 30 snaps, I wouldn't be shocked. And he needs it. And he needs it. So am I desperate? No, I'm not desperate. And in fact, I could wait until teams cut the 53-man roster. You the first thing you said about saving picks, I think Mike McDaniel had a joke that he'd actually like to use a draft pick.
Oh, wait. Mike McDaniel jokes? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. He'd actually like to use a draft pick one year. It would be nice. It would be nice. So I think they're going to not trade away the farm for a player, and especially not left guard.
Well, here's the flip side of that issue is it takes a team willing to trade an offensive lineman for picks. And I haven't done the research on this, but trades involving an offensive lineman to another team for a very high draft pick, they don't happen often. You know why? Because when you have a good offensive lineman, usually you hang on to him.
Yeah.
Those high-end guys usually move in free agency.
Here's where I can say you might be wrong. There might be a team facing a financial crisis like Miami's facing soon.
Okay.
That sees a young player that's developing, trending upwards, and wants to give that young player that spot, and wouldn't mind dumping that $11 million left guard on a team that is thirsty and desperate.
That's happened a lot in recent years, Omar, really?
No, I'm just saying it could technically happen.
I'm just saying it's impossible. I'm just saying the likelihood of that is extraordinarily, because
it's absolutely
going, let's go trade for Zach Martin. Well, okay, what's it going to take? Draft capital, number one. Number two, his issue is what's he getting paid for?
That Zach Martin is off the table.
More.
Zach Martin is off the table.
I understand, but I'm saying the idea of getting a high-end interior offensive lineman.
I didn't say high-end, salvageable. I didn't say high-end.
You have 4 guys. You're gonna say, are we gonna say that the 4 guys they have now are none of them are salvageable? I mean, that's my point. Is what kind of an upgrade would you get in a trade at this point that would require you to give up draft capital? And my answer is good luck with that.
It would be an expense. It would be the equivalent of Miami trading Emmanuel Ogbah, which is what I'm saying, which is a guy who just isn't a good scheme fit for you, who it's not that he's not a good NFL player, but you're just ready to move on, and you want to get ahead of it while you can get something for him, as opposed to just waiving him next year and get nothing. So what they should have did with Mike Gesicki last year, which is when you realize you couldn't use him,
yes, you
should have got something for him and did the best that you could to. If you would have put Mike Gesicki out there for a 4th round pick at midseason, somebody would have bid.
Except possibly, but any team that would have acquired Mike Gesicki at that time last year would have had to deal with the fact that he was an impending free agent.
Yeah.
Which would have hurt his
there
trade.
Was another safety trade. There was another tight end traded last year. I can't remember the name, but Minnesota traded for
Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Who's a lot better than Mike Gesicki, if we're going to be honest about it.
Okay, fair. I'll take that.
And the other quick part I want to touch on the running back position. I have said all along that if the Dolphins sign Dalvin Cook, the second he's on the team, he's the best running back on the roster without question. Obviously, the question is how much is that worth?
$6 million.
Okay.
2 for 12.
Oh, and we should mention that you like Raheem Mostert, but you love Dalvin Cook. Go ahead.
I
next.
like Raheem Mostert. This is
know,
not
I
a
know.
disrespect of Raheem Mostert.
Correct. You just love Dalvin Cook. That's fine.
Like Pro Bowler, journeyman, Pro Bowler, journeyman, Pro Bowler, journeyman. You're
Wow, journeyman is harsh.
huh?
I don't. Raheem
Mostert is not a journeyman.
Doesn't fit my definition of journeyman.
He's a 30-year-old. His best season was last year in his career, and he's 30 years old. How many teams?
He also spent 4 years in San Francisco, whatever it was. A journeyman to me is a guy who jumps from team to team, always finds a job, but never stays very long because they always find somebody better. So
if you got 4 teams on your resume, you're a journeyman to me.
Yeah, except all of his 4 teams were like early in his career before he became established. Once he got established with the Niners, it's been Niners and Dolphins. Anyway, we can agree to disagree. He's not a journeyman. Raheem, you're not a journeyman in my book. Okay, don't listen to what Omar is saying. Go ahead.
Your
Next
golden
question.
corral.
You what?
I said your golden corral in my book.
Okay.
Yeah, perfectly fine establishment.
Okay.
Kevin wants to know, the defense dominated the first week of training camp. I wouldn't say dominated, but they won. But the offense started to find its form in the second week. I will agree with that statement. Poop might not. Then it seemed like
Up and down and up and down. Go ahead.
Yeah, then it seemed like it took a step back in the scrimmage and 2 joint practices. What do you think caused this step back? Is it something to be worried about?
Well, we already addressed this question 2 questions ago, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. Well, let's just answer the worried part about it. I wouldn't be worried, quote unquote, worried about it just yet, but it would be nice if we saw some progress and a major step up. And no, to me, it wasn't like defense the first week, offense the second week. To me, they went back and forth from practice to practice, pretty much.
Yes. The offense has hit a lull. I think if there was a time where you experiment with things, test things out, isn't this the time?
Correct, but doesn't mean you have to fail every time you experiment at something, or more often than not. That's the thing. So, but having said all that, no, again, it's August 10th right now. Too early to push the panic button, but
yeah,
it'd be nice if it picked up.
Do they look like the 6th ranked offense in the NFL, which is where they were last year?
Not even remotely, no.
No, but do they look like a Chad Henne offense? No.
Well, how long was his career? 2008. He played 15 years in the NFL. He made himself a nice career.
Oh my God, stealing money. Brooklyn Core has stole money in Jacksonville, stole money in Kansas City. Let's not deny that. Props to you. You're a hustler. I respect everybody's hustle.
Solid backup in case he came up big in that one game where playoff game against Cleveland when Mahomes got sidelined. Next question.
Brooklyn Core. My concern last season was that with the defense. My concern last season was when defenses started to focus on the middle of the field, there wasn't much big chunk plays. You see more strong outside throws from Tua. Uh-oh. Go ahead, Poop.
The answer is no. And again, and this is where somebody's going to pull out a clip of a long completion down the sideline. Yes, he can complete that pass. Yes, there will be completions down the field, outside the numbers from time to time. No, that's not his forte. His wheelhouse is between the numbers where he is deadly accurate. Okay, but let's not pretend that this is a guy who's going to chuck it over the top all the time. Any lie told there?
No.
Okay, thank you.
And the pass that he threw yesterday was
oh, for those listening to the podcast on audio, there was a very deep sigh and a little bit of a sounds.
Yeah, the pass that he threw yesterday to Braxton Berrios on the boundary, probably about a 15-yard out. I've always been taught this. I forget who I got it from because I'm that old now. I've always been taught this: if a quarterback can't throw a 15-yard out, he doesn't belong in the NFL. And that's just the reality of it, because you can take away everything from a quarterback. except you can't take away a 15-yard out. If you remember Ryan Tannehill's first year in his career with the Miami Dolphins, where he barely knew the offense, he barely was able to run anything. What he did is he lived off a steady diet of 15-yard outs and comebacks, just because he had the arm to throw it.
Lively arm, yep.
And he threw that pass the entire season. That is not a pass Tua can throw on a consistent, regular basis.
Oh God, thank you, Omar. I love the fact that you use on a consistent, regular basis, because there's always a section of fans will come back with the one example. Look,
yes, they will cut up a clip.
Yeah,
they can give you a 3-minute clip of him throwing that pass in games and it working.
Yep.
And I love Tua. I know Tua does not believe that. I love Tua, but I do know his limitations. That is a pass he can hit probably 40% of the time. And if it's an elite cornerback, it better not be a pass you throw that direction, because it hangs there a little bit longer than it should. And because if the rush is in his face, it might be off target. And because if he doesn't make the right footwork step and step into that throw, it's going to take forever. I watched a clip. Somebody was criticizing Aaron Rodgers off a play. I can't remember what the play was, but it was Dolphin. Only see Aaron Rodgers clips when Dolphin fans are trying to talk trash. And he threw an interception or something. And literally, it was a back foot throw on a rope.
Yeah.
And probably 10% of the NFL quarterbacks can make that throw, even though it was a bad throw.
Yep.
It was a back foot throw, and it was on a rope. And I was like, holy crap, this guy at 40 still has that arm. And I was like, Jesus. Tua does not have that arm. Tua will never have that arm. And he does not have a Mahomes arm. That's not his game. His game is accuracy. We will never sit here and we will never talk about Drew Brees highlights. And you won't see that pass. You won't see back foot throws. You won't see 15-yard outs on a rope. That's not the pass that you see. That's not his game. That's not his forte. Same thing with Peyton Manning. So don't expect to see those throws from Tua. That's not his game. Does not mean that he's any lesser of a quarterback.
2 quick points on that I want to say. Tua will make that throw, those completions, if the timing is perfect to where he throws before the cut is made and the amount of time the ball's in the air doesn't matter, doesn't allow the DB to close and break up the pass. Or if his receiver, and as we saw that with Tyreek a few times last year, comes back to the ball to where he's always keeping himself between the defender and the ball and prevents the PBU or the pick. This is where the completions on the outside will come. It usually won't be because Tua is going to wait until the break and then zip the ball in there. As Omar mentions, that's not his game.
Like there are criticisms that you can make about his game that are valid and true. That is one of them, no matter what people want to say or what highlights you want to give. And I would make the argument, it doesn't matter. It's fine. He can throw it. He can throw a 15-yard out. It's just not his game. And that teardrop bucket pass into the corner 25 yards downfield, that's his throw. And he could do that all day long.
That or inside the numbers. Yeah, agreed.
He could do that all day long. A 15-yard out is not his throw. And there's no shame in that. Sure. Just know who you are as a quarterback and live in it. And I don't think he has a problem living in it. That throw to Barrios in that final joint practice, it was third down in a situational period. He had to throw it. And no, it was second down on that one. Second down. It was second down.
And I had it to Craycraft. I don't know. I didn't see Barrios. I had Craycraft. I had Barrios as the intended receiver on the third down pass that was picked up. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
I'm sorry. I might be mixing up my tiny white receivers. I apologize. My bad.
I could say something here, but I'm not going to say anything.
I mean, I apologize.
That's all right. It is what it is.
Remy Lostos asks a really good question.
Remy Lesault. He's a French gentleman who lives in Quebec.
Okay, say it again.
Remy Lesault.
Okay, that's a hell of a name.
The French name is he's probably thinking Omar Kelly. That's a weird name.
It's an Irish name, sir. You mentioned Elijah Campbell as an option at safety pairing with Javon Holland. After the joint practices, is he really a contender for the spot? Poop. I'll allow you.
Oh, he is most definitely. Totalement. I'll go ahead and start in French. Totalement. Absolutely. He's a contender for that spot. If not the leading candidate.
You would give him the leading candidate?
I like Elijah Campbell a lot. And everything he's not, and he's somebody that we haven't mentioned a lot. I know you and I both were pumping up Trill Williams all over the place, but I remember Elijah Campbell last year and the little snippets that we had looked pretty good. And then this summer he's looked even better. And if you were to tell me right now that's your starting safety opposite Javon Holland, I'd say I can believe it very easily. And
he would be my starting safety. And here's the reason why he would be my starting safety. He gives you a lot of range. He gives you a lot of physicality. And Deshaun doesn't give you range. Brandon doesn't give you range. Both of them give you physicality. If you're going to have Javon Holland in the box or covering a slot receiver, who's going to be roaming center field? Who's going to have the range to cover your backside? That's what that position has to do. And so right now, I'm sure Vic Fangio probably disagrees with me and Chris Greer disagrees with me, but that's Elijah Campbell's job to lose, in my opinion.
Well, but here's the thing, though. The center fielder usually is going to be Javon Holland. It's not going to be the other guy.
Sometimes. I'm seeing a lot of Javon Holland doing other things.
Okay. Yeah, and Elijah Campbell, if he's asked to line up closer to the line of scrimmage, has the physicality to handle that role as well. So again, the skill set is more varied than Deshaun Elliott and Brandon Jones. Excellent point you just made there.
McDrippy's twin ass, there seems to be concern with left guard spot. Oh, really?
No. Where'd you hear that?
Is there anyone on the team who can fix this?
Keith Sims coming out of retirement. No, it's just joking. Yeah, somebody's going to step up eventually. There'll be a guy there. I refuse to believe that the Dolphins cannot find one guy to do a salvageable job at left guard. I'm sorry. I refuse to believe that.
I think we're at the point now where probably the coaching staff realizes they need to pull the plug on Liam because confidence is just crumbling on a daily basis. So I would think that this is Isaiah Wynn's job to lose at this point.
Here's another point that needs to be made, because if we're going to be honest about it,
he didn't look that great, but
no. But left guard's not the only issue. The only spot on the offensive line where the play has to pick up, because I also would mention center. The center play hasn't been great.
Yes. And if we're going to be transparent, right guard hasn't been that great either. It's that you don't look like a $10 million player, Robert Hunt. And
right now, but
not
right now.
Yeah. And we said it on a previous podcast, and I do stand by this. And I do, if you're going to ask me right now, who is the best performing offensive lineman, it would be Austin Jackson.
Or Kendall Lamb.
No, because when he goes to right tackle, it's not the same.
I've seen him at right tackle, and to me, it's been solid. And again, we need to preface this by saying Teron Armstead has taken 6 snaps of team reps. So,
Yeah, Teron.
Yeah.
Teron And those 6 snaps were pretty good.
Yes. Yeah. Theron's not a problem.
Yeah. Sean Williams, we got a couple minutes left. Sean Williams, I want to move fast through these. Given the offense's second year, logic would think that it would be more in sync, not less. Do you think McDaniels feels good about last year so that he's adding on to it, or is there some sort of disconnect?
That
he's adding on.
Yeah, based on last year, he has no reason not to feel good about what it can do offensively.
Okay. Ryan Bell, any chance the Dolphins give a shot to Reuben Foster at inside linebacker? Let me address this. They've already added a linebacker. They're adding spare parts right now, and they have not worked out Reuben Foster. It's not going to happen. I think they would be, and so are other NFL teams, and he's not getting a tryout. This is the baggage that he's carrying in his carry-on is the type of baggage that NFL teams don't want any part of. That's just the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Grant Stern, who's got a pretty huge following. I have no idea who he is, but I want to know more. Do you think Mostert and the chain will get the majority of the running back snaps this year? Will Gaskins or Ahmed get cut?
Gaskin's going to get cut. Ahmed very well might get cut as well. I don't necessarily see a need to carry 4 tailbacks. I think I have
to carry 4 tailbacks. In today's NFL, you have to absolutely carry 4 tailbacks.
You ever heard of a thing called the practice squad and practice squad elevations? Okay.
No.
I said this. Tell me if this sounds familiar. I said what I said. Okay. I would say I have a hard time seeing Myles Gaskin on the team. I think Salvon Ahmed is 50-50 where they could carry 3 tailbacks on the team. Omar?
I think that would be irresponsible. I think one of those 2 make it. And if I'm going to be honest about it, I'm keeping Myles over Savon. And
is that what you do or what you think the Dolphins will do?
What I would do.
What do you think the Dolphins will do?
I think they're going to keep Savon over Myles.
Although now that you said that, one could make the argument if it has to be one of the 2, that because Ahmed is so much like Devon Achane, yes, he is, folks. They're the same guy. That maybe you keep Gaskin because he offers you different things than Ahmed and Achane do.
I never thought about it that way, but you make a very valid point.
Thank you.
Savon has to impress me during these exhibition games. I want him playing all 3 exhibition games, and I want to see what's there because it's just not good enough for me when the pads come on. And, I like him a lot, but I think we've seen the most of what he can offer, and it's just not good enough.
Had a 100-yard game against the Patriots as a rookie in 2020.
Okay. What has he done in 2022?
What have you done for me? Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, talented guy. Show me that it translates to games. Because the talent that he has is NFL starter.
Whoa.
Without pads? Without pads?
Okay. Whoa.
Hold on, without pads.
Because he can run and he can move, but does he have the instincts? Does he have the tackle breaking ability?
But if you can run and you can move.
No tackle breaking. Okay.
If you can run and you can move.
Yeah, but how many guys are like that?
Not a lot.
Looking for jobs or
okay.
NFL rosters. I mean, they're a dime a dozen. That's the problem.
Exactly. That's my point.
Okay. Next question.
Fins up mass. Is the offense simply trying? No, we've answered that question a bazillion times. Realistically, how good do you think the Dolphins defense will be this year? Big Fish asks.
Go ahead, you first.
Top 10 is the standard. And I think Vic Fangio would be irate if there's anything that's below top 10. He's got the personnel here to win. And while I make the argument, and I said this on the Joe Rose show today, I think the Dolphins are a bar that has phenomenal top shelf liquor. Now, once those top shelf items get finished, you're giving me sewer beer and cheap wine. That's going to give me headaches. Now, The question is everybody going to stay healthy? You know the answer to that is no.
Yeah, but it depends which guy gets hurt. And I hate playing that game because you could say that about every team, though.
It doesn't really depend which guy gets hurt. Give me one guy out of every unit. How good are they? Just take one out.
Jerome Baker.
Okay, then Duke Riley's your starter. You like that?
Is it that much of a drop off?
Yes, it is.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me one guy out of defense.
Cater in the slot, and Nick Needham's back at.
Oh my God,
and Nick Needham's back at full strength. Is it that big of a drop off?
Okay, no, we already lost one guy in the secondary, so it is what it is.
They're very, very thin. I agree with that overlying.
Give me Sealer off the defensive line. How good are they?
No, anybody off that defensive line. They are paper thin on the defensive line.
See what I'm saying? I just don't like your beers and your wines. You gotta upgrade a little bit. You gotta buy a little higher.
Then this is where I see Cleveland. Excuse me. I see Cleveland signing Shelby Harris yesterday, and I'm like, why would that not be the kind of move the Dolphins would make? Did they sign Shelby Harris to be a starter? He played for, unless I'm severely mistaken, he played for Fangio in Denver.
They're probably waiting on Akeem Hicks when he's ready to play football. Which, if I'm him, I'm signing like when you're done with these exhibition games.
Okay. I would hope there would be that kind of move, in the makings.
He probably wants real money, which Dolphins don't have to offer.
Well, the Shelby Harris contract, I think I believe it's up to 5.5.
That's a lot.
The guy's like a high-end player. I mean, again, this is the kind of guy who protects you if one of your defensive line starters goes down.
I don't know.
Okay.
Let's run through a lot of these. Big Earn McDolphin.
Big Earn McDolphin, my buddy Dana.
What kind of camp has Bradley Chubb had?
Good.
Solid.
We got about a minute and a half, so if we're going to do this rapid fire, it's got to be very rapid fire. If not, I'll tackle some of those on All Dolphins mailbag on alldolphins.com.
Why no DJ Fluker?
Why the bigger question is, why is nobody around the NFL signing the guy? Obviously, there's something there. I don't exactly know what it is, but
medical history. All right.
He's got knee issues. He's had knee issues for a while.
Peasy asked, keep one player, Riley, Miller, or Good?
Got to be Duke Riley.
Yeah, of course it's Duke Riley. That's the easy answer.
Okay. Last one.
Having watched the Finns practice, who is the new starter going to be? Whoever's going to be the new starter in the lineup. Robbie Chosen. I said it.
There you go. Eli Apple. On that note, I think we have to wrap this up. It's been real. Until we meet again, All Dolphins on YouTube. Miami Dolphins Insider on the Fans First Sports Network, where you get your podcasts, and of course, alldolphins.com with wall-to-wall free coverage of your Miami Dolphins.
Free!